The quantum distortion field rippled like silk against the observation window, its purple-blue waves casting ethereal shadows across Lyra Winter's face as she adjusted her sensor array for the 100th time that cycle. Research Station Helios had orbited this anomaly for 3 months now, but something about tonight's readings seemed different. "Computer, run spectrum analysis Delta 7 again," she mumbled, tucking a strand of auburn hair behind her ear. The holographic display flickered with new data streams, confirming what she'd suspected: the anomaly's energy signature had shifted. Dr. Lyra Winters hadn't spent 6 years earning her quantum physics doctorate to ignore anomalies within anomalies. At 32, she was the youngest lead researcher on the station, and moments like these reminded her why she'd chosen this isolated posting over cushy university positions. The door to the observation deck whispered open behind her. "Working late again, Dr. Winters?" Station Director Hammond's gravelly voice carried a note of concern. "The field's showing unusual patterns," Lyra replied without turning. "See these oscillations? They're almost harmonic." Hammond's weathered face appeared in the window's reflection. "You should rest. We've got that delegation arriving tomorrow, the ones interested in our research." Lyra suppressed a groan. Politics and funding, the eternal dance of scientific progress. "I'll finish up soon," she promised, knowing she'd likely be there until station dawn. After Hammond left, the observation deck fell into comfortable silence, broken only by the soft hum of equipment. That's when she first heard it, a whisper so faint she initially mistook it for environmental systems feedback. "I find you." Lyra froze, her fingers hovering over the console. The words hadn't been spoken so much as felt, resonating somewhere between her ears and her thoughts. "I finally found you." She spun around, heart thundering. The observation deck remained empty, but the quantum field beyond the window had changed. The usual random patterns had organized themselves into sweeping spirals, and at their center, a figure stood in the void. Lyra blinked hard, certain she was hallucinating from exhaustion. But the figure remained, tall, humanoid, yet clearly not human, with skin that seemed to be made of living starlight. Its form shifted and flowed like liquid mercury, but maintained a distinctly masculine shape. Their eyes met across the impossible divide of space, and Lyra felt reality tilt sideways. His eyes were galaxies, ancient and new all at once, and they held her with an intensity that stole her breath. "Do not be afraid, Lyra Winters." The voice in her mind was clearer now, carrying notes of warmth and curiosity. Before she could process what was happening, the figure moved, not through space, but through reality itself, and suddenly stood before her in the observation deck. Lyra stumbled backward, hitting the console. What are you?" The being's form solidified slightly, taking on more definite features while still maintaining its ethereal quality. He stood nearly 7 feet tall, with broad shoulders and elegant proportions. His face was hauntingly beautiful, with high cheekbones and those impossible eyes. "I am Cyrus Neltharion," he spoke aloud now, his voice carrying harmonics that made the air itself vibrate. "I have traveled across dimensions to find you." Me, Lyra's scientific mind warred with the impossibility before her. "Why?" Cyrus moved closer, and she noticed how the light bent around him, how reality seemed to ripple in his wake. "Because you are the first human to hear the song of the void. Your research, your understanding of quantum harmonics, it created a beacon I could follow." Warning klaxons suddenly blared throughout the station. Lyra knew the sensors must have detected his presence. "You need to leave," she said urgently. "Security will." "I cannot leave," Cyrus interrupted, his expression grave. "Not without your help. My kind is dying, Lyra Winters, and you may be the key to our survival." Heavy boots thundered in the corridor outside. Cyrus reached out, his starlight fingers almost brushing her cheek. "I know you feel it, the resonance between us. It is why I could find you across the dimensions." The observation deck doors slid open, security officers pouring in with weapons raised. Director Hammond's voice boomed, "Step away from Dr. Winters." But Lyra barely heard them. She was lost in Cyrus's galaxy eyes, feeling something impossible stirring in her soul, a harmony she'd never known she was missing. In that moment, she understood that everything in her life had been leading to this point. The security team's weapons powered up with an ominous whine. "Trust me," Cyrus whispered, extending his hand. Lyra knew she had seconds to decide, to retreat into the safety of her known world, or to embrace something beyond her wildest dreams. Her fingertips tingled as she reached toward him. "Hold your fire," she shouted to security, her eyes never leaving Cyrus's face. "He's not here to harm us." Their fingers touched, and the quantum field beyond the window erupted in a dance of light and color. As power coursed through her body, Lyra realized she'd just crossed a threshold from which there would be no return. And somehow that felt exactly right. Director Hammond's voice seemed to come from very far away. "Dr. Winters, what have you done?" But Lyra could only smile as new awareness bloomed in her mind. She understood now why her research had always felt incomplete. She hadn't just been studying the quantum field. She'd been learning its song. And Cyrus Neltharion, this impossible being of starlight and mystery, had heard her singing back. Quarantine Lab 3 hummed with tension as Lyra studied the holographic readouts floating before her. 2 weeks had passed since Cyrus's dramatic arrival, and she'd convinced Director Hammond to let her conduct research rather than treat their visitor as a threat. But the readings before her now threatened to shatter the fragile peace they'd established. "Your core energy signature is destabilizing," she murmured, glancing at Cyrus. He stood within a containment field, his starlight form flickering more than usual. "Why didn't you tell me?" Cyrus's galaxy eyes dimmed slightly. "I did not wish to burden you with the full truth so quickly. My kind, the Luminarii, are energy beings who evolved in the spaces between dimensions. But something is happening to the quantum fabric itself. It's becoming toxic to us." Lyra pressed her hand against the containment field's transparent barrier. Even through it, she could feel the harmonic resonance between them, like 2 tuning forks vibrating at compatible frequencies. "That's why you sought me out," she realized. "My research into quantum harmonics could be the key to our adaptation," he finished. "Your understanding of how energy patterns can be restructured is unique in all the dimensions I've traveled." Before Lyra could respond, the station's lights flickered ominously. A low rumble vibrated through the deck plates. "Warning," the computer announced. "Quantum field instability detected. Station shields at 60% and falling." Director Hammond's voice crackled over the comm. "Dr. Winters, report to the bridge immediately." Lyra hesitated, looking at Cyrus. "I'll be back soon." "The anomaly is expanding," he said urgently. "My presence here has accelerated the process. Lyra, if the station's shields fail." She ran to the bridge, her mind racing. The main viewscreen showed the quantum distortion field writhing with violent energy. Lightning-like discharges lashed out, each impact making the station shudder. "Shield failure in 10 minutes, the computer warned. Hammond turned to her, his face grave. "Your visitor brought this with him, didn't he?" "Not intentionally," Lyra defended. "The quantum fabric between dimensions is breaking down. That's why he sought us out. He needs our help to survive it." "And now we might not survive it either," Hammond countered. "We need to evacuate." "No," Lyra stepped forward. I think I know how to stop this, but you're not going to like it." She explained her theory rapidly. How Cyrus's people existed as pure energy, how they naturally stabilized quantum fields around them, and how her research suggested a way to amplify that effect. "If we can synchronize the station's shield harmonics with Cyrus's energy signature." "You want to plug an interdimensional being into our power grid?" Hammond stared at her. "That's insane." Another impact rocked the station. "Shield failure in 5 minutes," the computer reminded them. "It's not just about the shields," Lyra pressed. "The resonance between Cyrus and me, it's a natural quantum phenomenon. If we can amplify it through the station's systems, we might be able to stabilize the entire anomaly." Hammond's expression hardened. "And if you're wrong, we lose everything." "If I'm wrong, we lose everything anyway." After a tense moment, Hammond nodded. Do it. Lyra raced back to Quarantine Lab 3, her heart pounding. Cyrus watched her input commands to reconfigure the containment field. You intend to use me as a stabilizing force, he observed. The energy requirements will be significant. I know, Lyra met his gaze. That's why I'm going to help channel it. His form flickered with alarm. Lyra, no, the quantum feedback could kill you. Shield failure in 3 minutes. She disabled the containment field. You said there's a resonance between us. Trust that. Cyrus moved closer, his starlight form casting patterns across her skin. I cannot ask this of you. You're not asking. Lyra reached out, letting her fingers pass through his ethereal form. The sensation was electric, like touching the heart of a star. I'm choosing. They moved to the station's main power distribution hub. Lyra's fingers flew over the controls, rerouting energy paths, creating feedback loops that would either save them or tear the station apart. Shield failure in 1 minute. Cyrus wrapped himself around her, his energy melding with her physical form. The sensation was overwhelming. She could feel the quantum field itself singing through her cells, taste the space between dimensions. Now, she gasped. Power surged through them both. Lyra screamed as reality itself seemed to bend. Through their shared consciousness, she felt Cyrus fighting to contain and redirect the quantum energies, using her understanding of harmonics to reshape them. The station groaned, alerts blared. For one terrible moment, Lyra thought they'd failed. Then suddenly, everything stabilized. Quantum field stabilized, the computer announced. Shield strength returning to normal. Lyra sagged in Cyrus's embrace, their energies still intertwined. Through their connection, she felt his awe and gratitude, and something deeper, something neither of them had expected. You could have died, he whispered in her mind. But I didn't, she turned within his starlight embrace. And now I understand the resonance between us. It's not just about quantum physics, is it? No, he admitted. Among my people, such harmonics only occur when... When what? His galaxy eyes softened. When two souls are meant to become one. Before Lyra could process that revelation, new alarms sounded. But these were different, not warnings of danger, but of arrival. Multiple quantum signatures detected, the computer announced. Similar to life form designation, Cyrus Neltharion. Through their lingering connection, Lyra felt Cyrus's shock and concern. My people, he said, they've found us, and they will not understand what we've discovered here. Lyra squared her shoulders, feeling the last traces of quantum energy dancing through her veins. Then we'll make them understand. But Cyrus's worry bled through their bond. It's not that simple. Among the Luminarii, such connections with physical beings are forbidden. They will see you as a threat to our very existence. Why? Because, he said gravely, you've done what they thought impossible, found a way to help us survive. And that means everything they believed about humanity was wrong. The quantum field rippled with new arrivals, and Lyra realized their real challenges were just beginning. The Luminarii appeared as living constellations, their forms similar to Cyrus's, but each uniquely patterned with swirling stars and cosmic energy. 7 of them materialized on Station Helios's observation deck, their presence making reality itself shiver. Lyra stood beside Cyrus, acutely aware of the lingering connection between them after their shared ordeal with the quantum field. Director Hammond and a security team waited tensely behind them. The tallest Luminarii stepped forward, its form a deep indigo shot through with silver streams of light. Cyrus Neltharion, it spoke in harmonics that made the air vibrate, you have violated our most sacred laws. First speaker Nyxis, Cyrus acknowledged, his starlight form brightening protectively around Lyra. I've discovered something that changes everything we thought we knew. You've bound yourself to a physical being, another Luminarii hissed, this one a violent red. You risk corrupting our entire species. Lyra felt Cyrus's anger through their connection. The corruption is already happening, Valith. Our dimension is dying. What I've found with Lyra could save us all. Show them, Lyra whispered, touching his arm. Energy sparkled where they connected. Cyrus nodded and extended his consciousness. The other Luminarii stiffened as he shared the memory of how their combined energies had stabilized the quantum field. But Lyra noticed something he didn't. The youngest-seeming Luminarii, a soft, golden one at the back, showed signs of the same deterioration Cyrus had exhibited. First speaker, Lyra stepped forward, ignoring Hammond's warning sound. Your people are dying. I've seen the quantum decay in Cyrus's energy signature, and I can see it in others here. My research. Silence, Nyxis commanded. You cannot comprehend the complexities of our existence. But I can, Lyra insisted. The resonance between Cyrus and me isn't just an accident. It's a natural quantum phenomenon that could be the key to your survival. Let me show you. She moved to the nearest console, pulling up her research data. The quantum fabric is changing, becoming hostile to pure energy beings. But through our connection, Cyrus's energy signature has begun adapting. Look at the harmonic patterns. The golden Luminarii drifted closer, studying the displays. First speaker, she speaks truth. These patterns, they match the prophecies of the first evolution. A murmur rippled through the Luminarii. Nyxis's form flickered with what Lyra sensed was surprise. The prophecies are myths, Solara, Valeth dismissed. Stories to explain our origins. No, Cyrus said firmly. They're memories. Our ancestors weren't always pure energy beings. They evolved from physical forms, transcending dimensions. The prophecies spoke of a time when we would need to remember our origins to survive. Lyra felt a sudden surge through their connection. Cyrus was sharing something with her, ancient memories passed down through generations of his people. She gasped as understanding flooded her consciousness. Your people, she breathed, they were like humans once, but they found a way to transform themselves to exist as pure energy. That's why the resonance between us is possible, because deep in your quantum structure you still carry the echo of physical form. Solara moved closer, her golden light pulsing. The decay, it's forcing us to remember what we once were, to adapt or die. It's more than that, Cyrus added. Through my connection with Lyra, I've felt something we've lost, the ability to truly bond with another being. We sacrificed that intimacy when we transformed ourselves. And now the universe itself is demanding we remember it, Solara whispered. Nyxis's form swirled with conflicting energies. If what you say is true, then we face a choice far greater than survival. We must decide if we are willing to change the very nature of our existence. You already are changing, Lyra pointed out. But instead of fighting it, we could guide the transformation. My research combined with your knowledge. We could find a way for your people to exist in both states, physical and energy. Through their bond, she felt Cyrus's hope surge, but Valeth moved, threatening closer. This is heresy, the red Luminarii declared. We should destroy this station and everyone on it before these ideas can spread. Lyra felt the surge of deadly energy building in Valeth's form, but before anyone could react, Solara screamed. The young Luminarii's golden light flickered violently, her form beginning to dissolve. The decay, Cyrus shouted, it's accelerating. Without hesitation, Lyra reached out both physically and mentally, expanding her connection with Cyrus to encompass Solara. The quantum resonance between them hummed like a struck bell. Help me, she gasped to Cyrus. Together, they wrapped their combined energy around Solara, using the harmonics they'd discovered to stabilize her deteriorating pattern. The other Luminarii watched in astonishment as Solara's form steadied, her light taking on a new quality, something between energy and matter, shimmering with possibility. When it was done, Solara drifted back, studying herself in wonder. I feel different, more complete somehow. This is what awaits all of us, Cyrus told his people. Not an ending, but a new evolution, one that remembers what we were while embracing what we could become. Nyxis moved forward, his indigo light softening. Perhaps we have been too rigid in our beliefs. The first speaker before me once said that wisdom lies in knowing when to hold firm and when to flow like quantum streams. Then let us help you, Lyra offered. Not as experiments or saviors, but as partners in understanding what's happening. Director Hammond cleared his throat. If I may, Station Helios was built for exactly this kind of research. We could establish a permanent collaboration, under proper diplomatic protocols, of course. Lyra felt Cyrus's amusement at Hammond's quick political maneuvering. But she also sensed his growing contentment. The path forward was opening before them. Nyxus considered for a long moment, his starlight form rippling. We will need time to consult with our people, but, he turned to Cyrus and Lyra, your bond has shown us something we had forgotten. Perhaps it is time we remembered how to change. As the Luminarii discussed among themselves, Cyrus entwined his energy more closely with Lyra's. Through their connection, she felt his love for her, not despite their differences, but because of them. Whatever they decide, he whispered in her mind, my path is with you. Lyra smiled, watching the impossible gathering of humans and energy beings around them. I think, she said, we're all about to learn what it truly means to evolve. 3 months after the Luminarii arrival, Station Helios had transformed into an unprecedented collaboration between humans and energy beings. The observation deck, now converted into a quantum research center, swirled with holographic data and the ethereal forms of Luminarii scientists. But Lyra barely noticed the activity around her as she stared at the latest test results. Her hands trembled slightly as she turned to Cyrus. The decay rate is increasing, she said quietly. We're running out of time. Cyrus's starlight form dimmed. Through their ever-strengthening bond, she felt his concern not just for his people, but for her. The more they worked to save the Luminarii, the more their connection deepened, and the more it changed them both. Solara drifted over, her golden form now permanently bearing traces of the hybrid state that helped her achieve. The latest simulations confirm it. Within weeks, the quantum fabric will become completely inhospitable to pure energy beings. How many have undergone the transformation? Lyra asked, though she already knew the answer. 37, Solara replied. But many are still resistant, including most of the High Council. They fear losing what we are. They'll lose everything if they don't adapt, Lyra muttered, frustration coloring her thoughts. Cyrus wrapped his energy around her soothingly. Fear of change runs deep, especially among those who have lived countless human lifetimes without it. The lab doors slid open as Director Hammond entered with first speaker Nyxus and the crimson form of Valith, who had become their most vocal opponent. Dr. Winters, Hammond looked grave. The Council has made their decision. Nyxus moved forward, his indigo light pulsing slowly. We have observed the success of the transformations, but also their cost. Those who have changed are no longer purely Luminarii. They exist in a state between neither energy nor matter fully. They're alive, Lyra countered, and stable. But changed forever, Valith's harsh harmonics cut in. And now we know why. The process doesn't just alter our quantum structure, it binds us permanently to humanity. Each transformed Luminarii develops a resonance with humans, just like your corrupted bond with Cyrus. Lyra felt Cyrus's flash of anger through their connection. That bond saved Solara and 36 others. It could save you all. At the cost of everything we are, Valith surged forward. We would become dependent on another species, bound to their physical realm. The Council has voted. We will seek another solution. There is no other solution, Lyra stepped forward. Your people are dying. The quantum fabric itself is rejecting pure energy states. This isn't about choice anymore, it's about survival. Lyra, Hammond warned, but she pressed on. You think this only affects your people? The quantum decay is spreading. Soon it will reach human space, destabilizing the very forces that hold atomic structures together. We're all facing extinction. Silence fell across the lab. Even Valith's angry red light dimmed slightly. What aren't you telling us, Dr. Winters? Nyxus asked softly. Lyra took a deep breath. The decay, it's not natural. We found evidence in the quantum signature. Someone or something is deliberately changing the fabric of space-time. The only way to survive is to adapt before the change completes. Impossible, Valeth hissed. No being has such power. Unless, Solara drifted forward, they came from outside our dimensional plane entirely. The prophecies spoke of the Shapers, beings who existed before the universe took its current form. Cyrus's form brightened with sudden understanding. The first evolution. It wasn't natural either, was it? Our ancestors were guided to their energy state by these beings. And now they're guiding us back, Lyra finished. But why? Before anyone could respond, alarms blared throughout the station. The quantum field surrounding them erupted with impossible colors. Multiple quantum ruptures detected, the computer announced. Unknown energy signatures emerging. They watched in awe as spaces between spaces tore open around the station. Through the rifts came beings that defied comprehension, forms that existed in more dimensions than the human mind could process. We are the Shapers, a voice resonated directly in all their minds, and the time of testing is complete. Lyra felt Cyrus pull her close as reality itself seemed to bend around these ancient entities. Through their bond, she shared his mix of terror and wonder. Your species were separated long ago, the voices continued, to see if you could find your way back to each other. Only through reunion can you face what comes next. What comes next? Nyxus asked, his form trembling. Evolution, transcendence. The universe itself must change, and only those who remember how to adapt will survive to see its new form. Valeth's red light flickered. You're destroying everything we are. We are offering you the chance to become more than you ever were, but the choice must be made freely, and time grows short. The beings began to withdraw, the rifts starting to close, but one thought remained. The bond between Lyra Winters and Cyrus Neltharion shows the way. Together, they have already begun the transformation that all must undergo. Choose quickly, children of matter and energy. The changing comes. As the rift sealed, Lyra turned to the assembled beings, human and luminary alike. Now you know the truth. We don't have time for politics or fear. We have to decide, face this change together or die separately. Through their bond, she felt Cyrus's certainty matching her own. Whatever came next, they would face it as one. But would the others choose to follow? The next 48 hours on station Helios passed in a blur of desperate activity. After the Shaper's revelation, even the most resistant luminarii had to face reality. The quantum fabric was changing, and they had to change with it. Lyra worked tirelessly, her consciousness intertwined with Cyrus's as they guided transformation after transformation. Each successful joining of human and luminarii taught them more about the process, about how two fundamentally different forms of life could merge into something entirely new. That's 73, Lyra murmured as she watched Valeth, of all beings, complete his transformation with a young physicist named Julian. The formerly crimson luminarii now shimmered with an opalescent light that somehow existed as both energy and matter. He finally understood there was no other way. Cyrus wrapped his starlight around her. Through their bond, she felt his exhaustion and his hope. First speaker Nyxus approached them, his indigo form one of the few remaining pure energy signatures. The reports from our far-ranging kin confirm it. The quantum changes are accelerating everywhere. We have perhaps hours left. Then why haven't you transformed? Lyra asked softly. Nearly all the others have. Because I must be last. Nyxus's harmonics carried deep sadness. I must witness our people's transition, ensure none are left behind. It is my duty as first speaker. A gentle golden light enveloped them as Solara joined their conversation. The human ships are arriving, she announced. Director Hammond's message reached Earth. They're sending everyone they can to undergo the transformation. Lyra moved to the observation window, watching as the first ships emerged from jump space. Through the quantum field's shifting colors, she could see dozens of vessels approaching, everything from small research craft to massive colony ships. They're not just sending scientists, she realized. They're sending families, children. As they should, Cyrus moved beside her. The Shapers were clear: this change affects all of humanity, not just those who work with us. The station's docking bays filled over the next hours as ships arrived from across human space. At the same time, more luminarii emerged from the quantum field, drawn by the call Nyxus had sent out to his scattered people. What followed was both beautiful and chaotic, human and luminarii finding each other, resonances clicking into place as pairs and sometimes groups discovered their quantum compatibility. Each transformation lit up the station's sensors with new harmonic patterns as beings of matter and energy learned to exist as one. Through it all, Lyra and Cyrus moved among them, guiding, teaching, helping others understand the connection they had first discovered. Their own bond deepened with each passing hour, their consciousness becoming so intertwined that sometimes Lyra forgot where she ended and Cyrus began. But as the final hours approached, something changed in the quantum field around them. The very fabric of spacetime began to shift and twist. "It's starting," Nyxus announced, his form flickering urgently. "The great change the Shapers promised." Lyra felt it through her enhanced senses. Reality itself was beginning to transform. Anyone who hasn't undergone the transformation needs to do it now. The remaining pure humans and luminarii rushed to find their resonant partners. Lyra watched as Director Hammond, who had resisted until the end, finally accepted his connection with a Silver Light Luminarii scholar. "First speaker," Cyrus called out. "There's no more time for watching, you must choose." Nyxus's indigo light pulsed once, then he turned to Solara. "Old friend, would you help me make this final journey?" The golden hybrid's light brightened with joy. "I've been waiting for you to ask." As the last transformations completed around them, Lyra felt something massive approaching, a wave of change that would reshape everything they knew. She clutched Cyrus tightly, their combined form blazing with starlight and humanity. "Look," she whispered. The quantum field exploded with impossible colors as reality began to transform. But instead of fear, Lyra felt only wonder. Through her connection with Cyrus, through the new awareness they shared with all the transformed beings around them, she understood what was happening. The universe wasn't ending, it was becoming more. As space and time reorganized themselves into new dimensions, Lyra felt her consciousness expanding. She could sense Cyrus beside her, within her, their shared being transcending what either of them had been before. Around them, the other transformed pairs experienced the same awakening. They were no longer simply human or luminarii. They had become something new, beings who could exist across multiple states of reality, who could perceive dimensions beyond normal space-time. The Shapers had not been their destroyers, but their guides to the next stage of evolution. As the transformation completed, Lyra opened senses she had never possessed before. The universe around them had changed, becoming richer, deeper, full of possibilities they were only beginning to understand. "Now you see," Cyrus's thoughts merged with hers. "This was always our destiny, not to exist separately, but to find each other and become more together." Lyra smiled, her partially energy form dancing with joy. "So what do we do now?" Now, Solara's golden light twined with Nyxus's transformed indigo radiance nearby. "Now we explore. There are more dimensions than we ever imagined, more forms of life to discover. And more ways to love," Cyrus added, pulling Lyra close as their combined consciousness soared through their new reality. They were no longer bound by the old limits of physics or biology. They were neither energy nor matter, but something gloriously in between. And as Lyra looked out at the transformed universe with her new awareness, she knew they had not reached an ending, but a beginning. Beyond the stars lay infinite possibilities, and they would explore them all together.